Build the God Squad you've always wanted. InstantMuttCoins.com. Instant delivery, cheapest prices, 24/7 support. Use code CC, 15% off. EA tax 10% is covered. Hey, what is going on, Madden family? I know no face cam today, but I wanted to discuss something, and it's something I've had a pretty strong feeling about for quite some time. And it's what went wrong with Madden. Where did Madden go wrong? What has caused the ruining of the game? Just Madden in general. I'm not talking just about Madden 19, but just from a pure standpoint of it all. Now, if you talk to any Madden purist, they will claim that the game back in the day was a lot better. And of course, you know, everyone's opinion is it's right. It's their opinion. Everyone is allowed to have their opinion. And everything nostalgic grows fonder in the heart over time. And that's exactly what has really happened here. Now, were the older games better? They probably were, right? But I think what people are forgetting and what has caused a lot of the downfall of Madden, the first part of it, in my personal opinion, and you can disagree with it, is Twitch and YouTube. Now, of course, I mean, I do both of those things, so you can lump me into that. Ebooks as well, maybe even. But what it really is if you talk to a lot of people about what the best Maddens of all time were, they were Maddens that were done before these platforms were a lot bigger. They didn't have as big of an audience. So a lot of the game breaking mechanics that people would use didn't spread super wide. They obviously spread in a very hardcore part of the community. But otherwise, we didn't have a lot of that. Now, obviously, there's gameplay issues, and I'll talk about that. But what I'm really trying to say here is the way that everyone runs to be a copycat of everything is based off of this. You see it all the time. And with the rise of competitive Madden, it is happening worse and worse and worse, where the originality within the game is going away. Now, part of that is on, like I said, the growth of these platforms. And the other part of that falls, honestly, square onto EA. EA has a horrible tendency of removing things from the game, plays, playbooks, formations, and not putting anything new back in. It's a bad cycle that we've hit, where instead of fixing things that are broken, or fixing aspects of the game, certain formations that may be glitchier than others, they just get removed. That's not the way it works, and it shouldn't work that way. There should be an effort to fix things instead of remove things as a fix. Two totally different things. So I think that a lot of it, while we all as a community have led to the popularity of Twitch, to YouTube, and to ebooks, and again, I am guilty of this, a lot of it does fall back towards EA for them not giving us the power to be original. This also stems then into the way that formations work in the game. Compressed sets generally are very good. Being able to block pressure is a key when you are playing online Madden. And that's why Bunch is so good. And that's why people are going to keep using Bunch and keep using Bunch. And it's really hard to nerf because of the way that the spacing works. Now, a lot of the reasons why the game allows for this is the legacy code in the game is so old that it needs to be completely revamped and redone. That's a big problem because Madden should be operating on a 2-year development cycle, and it simply operates on a 1-year cycle. And anytime you have that, you're not giving yourself enough time. There's not enough time to really fix and make a more complete game year over year over year. What we get instead is a touched up game with a lot of bug fixes that have happened and been reported, and then new features brought in. And while new features do sell the game, and they're honestly required for sales and for Madden to continue, the biggest problem with it is that it takes away a lot of the development resources and the QA resources, the testers, from making sure that the game is as good as possible. Another bad part of that, in my opinion, is that while we have people coding the game, Some of them, they may not be fully qualified, right? And that's a thing. A lot of them are, but some of them may not be, right? Because they may be coming from the community, and that's great. And then some of the testers, similarly, is that they are coming from a background where this may not have been something they are used to, or maybe they played Madden. But you need the combination of things. You need a good mix of all of it, and it's really, really hard, because what happens is when you have, even if we talk about the development team or the testing team, their size, it's not big enough. Especially the testing team is not going to be big enough, because once you get the game in the hands of the couple 100,000 that play Madden religiously, we're going to find ways, not trying to break the game, but trying to find an advantage, which then in turn does end up breaking the game. And what happens from there? EA tries to patch the game, everything goes away. Now, if you talk to people, they will always say that when Madden comes out, its first patch or two, the game is normally at its best. That's false, and my reason for saying it's false is simple, that we haven't had enough time to really find or see what else is wrong with the game. There's just things that we haven't seen, realized, or things that haven't spread into becoming problematic within the game. So again, while a lot of the stuff I want to put on EA, a lot of it does fall back on us as the players, and we have to at least understand that. Now, there's nothing we can really do about it, because everyone wants to be the best, and to try to be the best or win the most online games, you're going to go and take any fair advantage possible, right? But along the way, with EA not updating the playbooks, with them not spending enough time and resources on making sure the game is better, the biggest problem that has come into play recently, in my opinion, in making the game feel worse, not necessarily be worse, but feel worse, is previous play. Previous play is a terrible feature in the game. It's a hand-holding feature. It's a crutch for most players. It should not be in the game. It's as simple as I can say it. It should not be in the game. You shouldn't be telling people that. And there's the argument that, well, in NFL coaches, they would be able to take pictures and all that. Cool. You know what? At halftime, you want to show someone one of my plays? Fine. But after every single play, you know the exact formation I did that tells you how many adjustments I ran, which play I ran. And now that can be copied and spread wider and wider and wider. That's why a lot of people try to hold stuff back, because it's so easy to tell what someone is doing with formations. It's bad. But the biggest problem of the actual gameplay, what has really, really caused the actual downfall of the game, is a canned animation system. And we really got into this starting in about Madden 16. It got really, really badly. User control is what separates most players in Madden. There is a lot of user control that has been taken away with Ball Hawk. There is user control that has been taken away with a lot of these canned animations for running moves, tackling better, even catching the ball. You used to be able to click onto your receivers and actually make plays with them. And of course, there were exploits with that, with swerves and face catches and all that. And I understand that happens, and it does happen. And instead of, again, EA fixing the problem of the defenders glitching out, what they do is they remove the ability. They give us a canned system for catches, which is honestly become the worst thing in the game. It is hands down the worst part of the game, because it takes so much out of a skill or a talent level that you don't actually have to do anything. I don't like it at all. I don't know anyone who really likes it. Now, if EA can go back and solve this, that would be great. With Madden 16, the one feature that we didn't have that I think was sorely needed was a swap button. If Madden 16 just got a swap button, that game was pretty good. But instead of giving us that, we got a changed game. Madden 17 wasn't that bad either. Madden 18, a lot of people have a problem with it with some of the air trucks. I get that that was stupid. With the way that 91 Zone played, that was stupid, right? It just was defenders with eyes in the back of their heads constantly, as to where players on defense have to do less to get stops. It shouldn't be that way at all. There should be no put your controller down and get a stop in the game. It shouldn't happen. Ever. When you were playing in a competitive online game. Computer games, stuff like that, it's fine. I get it. I understand it. But online, it needs to go. Now, what has made things even worse and took things to another level, and I believe this year is the worst that I can truly recall seeing it. Now, I know offensive line play back in the day was terrible. People could one-man nano blitz, like true nano blitz. But people don't talk about that as a bad Madden because only a handful of people knew what it was. Now, you crash your line out, and you're getting glitchy animations all the time. You're getting aggressive pass rushes when not being aggressive and having no risk of doing it. Offensive line and defensive line, that interaction is completely key to how the game should be playing. And when we get a version of the game that frankly sucks, this is at the root of it. Last year's wasn't terrible with the offensive line. A lot of the other stuff on defense played completely overpowered. This year, there is nothing more frustrating in my mind than sitting here with 7 blockers and having someone not blitz, not set up a blitz, not do anything, but just crash in their line and say, I want you guys to run to the outside, and my offensive line having no idea what to do. Now, I'm not sure what brought this on or what caused it, obviously, but the fix like this has to go. Madden should be a game of cat and mouse. It should be a chess match. This takes a lot of the chess match out of it, where you're doing less, and that shouldn't be that way. Not at all, in my opinion. Take it out. Now, what recently has changed the game a lot, in my opinion, as well, are these abilities, and we know that they're coming back from Madden 20. Abilities in itself are fine. They're fine. Whatever. It's okay if they all worked, but they don't all work. So again, we're putting out a product that doesn't actually function correctly. Now, at times, some of the abilities are overpowered, and I couldn't agree more. But if every ability is overpowered and everyone has it, the playing field is still fairly level. I would prefer if they were just taken out of the game. If it went back, you didn't have to have conductor to make hot routes. Just allow that. It's a skill, right? Being able to get all your hot routes in took skill, knowing exactly what you wanted to do. You say, oh, the defense. Well, the defense can do the same thing. They can make any adjustments they want on the fly. Bam, 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 none. No problem, right? Why not allow that same consistency on both sides of the ball? I don't know. Playmaker used to just be in the game sort of normally. Now you have to pay for it. And that's the problem, is a lot of stuff is now, now you need to pay for it. Now you need to pay for it. No, these are just the ways that the game should work. If in the real life, you take some of the stuff from the NFL and you compare it to Madden, sometimes you want the game to act true to itself, to how the NFL would play. Other times you really don't want that, because a simulation type of game just isn't the most exciting or most fun even. So what we reach is an impasse here with how to make the game better. There's no easy answer. And I know that the team at EA is obviously working and they want the game to be as good as possible. They do. But I don't think they can do it on this engine. The engine we are using currently is historically bad. Now, maybe this is handcuff, and maybe the engine is the reason why so many things are wrong with the game. Maybe it's not the development team's fault. I would like to think that the development teams would be able to fight through these things, because they are professionals and they are getting paid a very good amount of money to make a game. But if it's that as bad as everyone has heard, then maybe they are sort of handcuffed. And if that is the way it is, that's the way it is. We need another engine in the game. Other games on the engine like FIFA, I happen to follow a lot of guys who play FIFA, the YouTubers and all that, because I find their content interesting and I see their feedback and how FIFA is. And a lot of people just hate that game too. And it's crazy how FIFA has followed the exact same path as Madden gameplay wise. It's wild. So Madden went off the rails a long time ago, way before our favorite Maddens were even made. Madden's had a big problem for a long time, and some of our favorite Maddens, they're our favorites because of nostalgia and how we used to feel. Those weren't necessarily good games. Do you think that having one-man A-gaps would have been as good if everybody knew how to do it? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think the game would almost be unplayable. What we don't have this year is crazy blitzes. What we didn't have last year were crazy blitzes. But what we do have is the backside of things. Doing less and getting pressure. Doing nothing and covering every route. Big problem. Being able to throw the ball up and just close your eyes. I've done challenge videos without regard and beaten people to just holding the aggressive catch button. So you want to blame Odell? Blame Odell. That's fine. But if someone else would have made a crazy catch, they would have implemented something else anyway. They could have figured it out. Madden is on a bad road. It's a very fixable road. And I think that we don't necessarily need Madden 20 to be the best Madden we've ever played. We just need it to not be the worst.